Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast, part of the Bet Rivers Network. Time for some emails. Remember, send your emails to Mike Francesa podcast at gmail.com. We'll get to a bunch of them today. And coming soon to the Mike Francesa newsletter is a new contest where you can win a personalized message from me or other prizes. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter, just do it by going to the MikeFrancesAPodcast.com. That's MikeFrancesAPodcast.com. And you'll get the free weekly newsletter delivered to your inbox, and you'll be eligible for the prizes. All right, so here we go with today's list of emails that you guys have been waiting for me patiently to answer. Here we go. Charlie starts us off. Not a great day for the Jets. Pats in the Super Bowl again. Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl. How do they always get things wrong? It is a hit, I'm sure, to everybody in the division, including the Bills, including the Dolphins, but especially the Jets, that the Pats have done this. One of the great coaching jobs by Vrabel. Selecting the right players, developing players, obviously putting together a staff that can win. I know people want to look at their schedule and say they played they played soft quarterbacks, and that's fine. They played soft quarterbacks. They played tough defenses. All right. But they won games. They've won a lot of games on the road, and they're in the Super Bowls. You can't take that away from them. That's all there is to it. And they have a second-year quarterback, and they have a franchise now with a terrific head coach and a terrific quarterback, and that's how you win. And they have ownership that knows how to win. So the Jets have taken a hit for Sam, but you know what? I would give the more immediate teams hits for Sam, including Minnesota. Think about Minnesota. And think about how ironic it was, because Geno Smith, I believe, had an offer from them that he turned down last year. So he could have easily been their quarterback again this year. Instead, they go get Sam, and look what happens. They're in the Super Bowl, and he played really well last night. I thought he was decisive. He spread the ball around. He didn't turn the ball over. I thought he did a great job. I thought it might have been his best game, and really hard loss for the Rams, who had a strange season. They were better than they performed, but I'll tell you, it was also a tough day for two very, very good coaches. There's nobody who doesn't think that Sean Payton and McVay are really top of the line coaches. They've proved that. They're winners. They've proved on more than one occasion that they're winners and they're program builders. Sean had a really tough day. McVay had a really tough day. I didn't agree with a lot of things he did. I also didn't agree with him not taking the field goal on 4th and 4 with 5.5 minutes left in the game and 3 timeouts. I didn't think it made any sense. It changes a lot of the way that Seattle has to think. It changes so many things. And to me, you take the shot at 3rd and 4. 4th and 4, you know that with Stafford, they are going to drop at least 8, and they wound up dropping 9 into the end zone, because they're not afraid of Stafford running from the 4-yard line. He's not going to run. He's going to stand back there until he has a play. You have other quarterbacks. You have younger quarterbacks. You got obviously May. He's going to run. Stafford's not going to move. He's going to stay back there and wait until he can pitch it. And with all those guys in the end zone, even with the gifted receivers that he has, you're not going to get guys open, and he didn't. He did it on 3rd and 4. He did it on 4th and 4. I thought that was a big mistake. And I think these guys throughout the playoffs, and you could do like a tutorial on it, how many times did they pass up automatic field goals and get no points? Hey, points are at a premium in the postseason. You don't turn away points. If you didn't get there on 3rd and short, don't go on 4th and short. If you have more than 2 yards and you have to pass the ball and you just passed it on 3rd and short and you didn't get there, don't go on 4th down. There's a lot of reasons not to go. You know, when you have 1 yard and you have a guy like Allen, then you go, because you're going to make it. I think really guys are going to have to rediscover the field goal. Eric, does David Stearns deserve credit from the fans now after adding the players he added? Yes, but I don't think the job is complete yet. Has he filled in a lot of the blanks? Yes. Do I like the moves? I d- I like a lot of the moves. I love the Bichette move. I'd rather have Bichette than have Tucker. I made that perfectly clear. I like he brought in gamers. I don't mind that guys haven't played positions. I think they're pros. Um, I don't think the center fielder is going to hit. I think he's going to play defense. I don't think he's going to hit. As long as you're happy with that, I think they still need a big RBI bat in the middle of the lineup. And I don't understand what their plan is with Vientos yet, because I wouldn't give up on Vientos. I think Vientos has an ability to still be a very productive hitter. I think he's a DH, but I think he could be a very productive hitter. I also I think they have volume in the starting pitching. Do they have enough quality? And I know he still covets the big closer. I don't think he's going to get him. I mean, maybe he'd take back something that San Diego doesn't want. I still don't think they're going to get him. But I think Stearns has clearly showed that he had a plan. And I think the owner got very much involved. When they got the Tucker deal and they had egg on their face, it didn't take them a couple hours to go out and make a deal. And they did, and they paid for it with Bichette. But I think that was a really good move. Ray, it seems like every game now has multiple missed blatant face mask calls, ambiguous catches, first down spots without a measurement. Do you think the NFL notices this and will get any better? I think it's a hard game to officiate. I think there's some things the NFL can do better, and I hope they do. Yeah, having a play like the Buffalo game presented is really bad for the NFL because it has a real carryover effect. And they have not done a good job defining what a catch is over the last 5 years. Daryl, what type of player do you think John Harbaugh will want for the Giants with the 5th pick? Well, I think the Giants could trade down if they see some real quality below and maybe get back the 3rd round pick they lost last year in the trade. I know there's talk about 2 Ohio State players, the receiver and the safety. Downs is a terrific player. I think he's going to be a terrific player. Is 5 high to take a safety? Yes, it is. Would I be upset if they took him there? Not if they have a conviction. I would not. No, not if they really believe that he's going to be what they want. You know, a lot of teams feel having that safety who can do everything, the do everything safety, who can play multiple positions, who can come to the line of scrimmage, who can do the things that a Palomalo could do or a Hamilton can do. You know what? Those guys are worth their weight in gold. And I know that Harbaugh feels that way. Seth, do you think Robert Saleh has any chance of success with the Titans? Listen, he has a chance. I am not. First of all, I think Saleh has had very good media relations. The TV people liked him everywhere. He's a personable guy. The TV people liked him. They sold him like cornflakes a lot of the games. You know, when the defense played great, you saw Saleh's face all the time. When they were giving up 40 points, you never saw anything. It wasn't his fault. This is not about Saleh, the defensive coordinator. You must differentiate between Saleh, the defensive coordinator, and Saleh, the head coach. I watch Saleh. I don't know Saleh. I've made that very clear from a hole in the wall. I don't know him. Okay, I know he's a very personable guy, tries to be friendly, blah, blah, blah. I watched him coach every game he coached here in New York. He was a terrible head coach. A lot of times, coordinators are terrible head coaches. Very good coordinators, great coordinators are terrible head coaches. I think Saleh is in that group. I don't think he understands what it means to be a head coach. I think he is a head coach dressed up as a defensive coordinator. I think that is a very, very poor hire, and I think it will backfire. Chris, do you think Pete Alonso might have been part of the problem in the Mets clubhouse? Could this be the reason Stearns didn't seem to want him? No, I don't think it had anything to do with Pete's personality. I think Pete getting a bad rap. I think there were issues in that clubhouse, but I don't think it had anything to do with Pete. I'm not there, okay? But what I heard about certain stuff. I never heard anything about Pete. Never. From people who were there all the time, I never heard one bad thing ever about Pete. Ever. I think he just had an opinion that a right-handed, aging first baseman, limited defensively, despite the fact he always plays and he's highly productive as a power hitter, he felt that Pete's going to crash and burn at a younger age than another guy would. And he also did not like the defense that Pete played. I think if he wanted Pete back, I think he was going to use him as a DH. And I don't think Pete really loved that. I think Pete's found a home in Baltimore. I think he'll do very well in Baltimore. I think he'll be exceedingly popular in Baltimore, and I think he'll hit the heck out of the ball in Baltimore. Patrick, do you think the Bengals with Burrow, Chase, Higgins, and company are going to be the most wasted talent you've seen in the NFL? No, I don't think that. I think there's a lot of teams that are wasted talent. I'm not sure Burrow's going to be on Cincinnati next year. I could see a blockbuster trade and Cincinnati going in a different direction. I don't think Baltimore has the nerve to trade Lamar Jackson. I think Cincinnati would trade Burrow under the right circumstances. And it will prove to be a colossal mistake because Burrow is a premier talent. Premier. He is a wonderfully talented quarterback if he can stay healthy. Now, him being healthy is an issue, without question, a big issue. And he's coming to the part of his career where you want him to be productive and you want him to stay on the field because you're paying him a ton of money. Robbie, what do you think the Knicks need to be in contention for the NBA title? I don't think the Knicks will win the NBA title anyway. They could get to the finals this year, but I don't think they're going to I don't think anybody will beat Oklahoma City. Listen, we've said this a million times. We've talked about it a million times. Now there is some hemorrhaging going on with the Knicks internally. And it looks like they're going to make a trade. But here's the thing. We talked about it all year. The Knicks could not fix the one problem they had that just was not fixable. They cannot survive with both Brunson and Cat on the court at the same time. They are a dreadful, ineffective, awful defensive team with those two guys on the floor. Neither one of them could guard anybody. You can survive with having a point guard who is that clutch and can be that productive and will score that many points, even though he's not a defender. You can cover for one guy. You can't cover for two. And having a big man who did that is a major, major problem. The Knicks are trying to fix that now. How they fix that, I think it's going to be very delicate. They've been very smart, the Knicks. The Knicks are well run. They're very smart. But as I've told you from the start of the season, I thought they were a cut below a championship team. I think, the East is weak enough that they could get there this year. They're not going to win the championship, though. Nobody in the East is going to win the championship this year. This is Bill. Should the Mets give the Tigers anything they want for Skubal or just wait and take their chances in free agency? I would wait until the Tigers either are ready to unload him because they know they can't. The Tigers already know they can't sign him. They know there's no chance they can sign him. So there'll come a point in the season where they'll want to pull the trigger because they'll want to get something back. So to me, if you're the Mets, you can wait to free agency if you know he's going to get to free agency. If he's not going to get to free agency, then get the package together that you feel. And this is the way you have to read the market. If he's not going to get there, if he's going to be gone, then you have to be able to present, and they have the ability to present the package because they have a very good farm system. So I think they will be involved. I would be involved for him. The one thing about him is I want him as a pitcher to get away from trying to strike everybody out because it will keep him in the game past the sixth inning. And you want to be able to keep him in the game past the sixth inning, especially in the postseason. And if he would not try to strike out the building and get away from that, that made Mariano who he was when they finessed him to where he could get one out, one pitch outs and save some pitches. It's imperative whether you're a great reliever or a great starter. If when you strike people out, you were going to go to 3-2. You were going to have some guys foul the ball off. You were going to throw more pitchers. And that's going to get you out of the game earlier than you want to be out of the game. So that's why I think that's imperative that you mature into that position. Now, there's some guys, listen, if you're Sandy Koufax or Sudden Sam McDowell, you're just going to keep striking people out because your stuff is so overpowering. There's no way around it. Or Nolan Ryan. That's never going to change, but that's rare, very rare. Without question, that kind of player, the Mets will be involved. And I'm sure the Dodgers will be involved, as they are in everything. And they have, without question, they have outclassed, outthought, and outmaneuvered the rest of baseball. And yes, having a player who is as valuable a property as Ohtani is, and having him where you're paying him no money gives you a flexibility that is almost inconceivable. And the rest of baseball can be angry about it. Fine. You know what? They didn't do anything illegal. See, baseball is going to try and make enormous changes this year. They act like owners act right now. And remember, the baseball collective bargaining agreement ends, I think, December 1. It's the first week of December, but I think it's December 1. They act like right now, like the salary cap is a foregone conclusion. It is not a foregone conclusion to that players association, which has an incredible war chest, which has been planning for this for years, which had every dollar that they made from video games and all different things that they get licensing from. They have not touched $1 of that for 2 years so that they could build up their war chest for the players who are going to need it. So when a player comes in and says, "Hey, you know what? I'm thinking of crossing because what do you need? You need 3 million? You need 5 million?" Well, they have the money to keep everybody happy and out. And if they try to go hard cap, now remember, the Players Association will take a bottom floor where every team has to spend to X. They will not take a ceiling. But without a ceiling, you don't really have a cap. If you just have a tax, if you just have flexibility at the top, you don't really have a cap. And understand that these sports understand now that, in essence, the players and the owners are basically splitting the pool. The owners are going to take a little money off. They're going to take some cream off the top, and then they're willing to split the rest of the revenue with the players. which is almost a 50-50 split. Some places will try to tell you that the players are making 55% of the gross and everything. I don't think they are, but the point is there's an incredible amount of money to go around. Even in baseball. Baseball's problem is that the revenue is so disparate between the haves and the have-nots. You don't have that in the NFL. You don't have that anywhere in sports like you have it in baseball, where you have teams with revenues of $700 and $800 million and teams with revenues of 1/10 of that. So forget what these teams try to tell you about what they make and what their revenues. Listen, that's all bookkeeping. In one pocket, in the other pocket. We've already been through that. That's not the point. The point is you have the haves that can spend and spend and spend, and you have the ones that have no ability to spend anything. And what that does is it shows up in the regular season. It doesn't show up in the postseason. And baseball's postseason is more random than any other sports. It's proven. It's more random. The winners are more random once the playoffs start than anywhere. But there's a lot of teams that can't get to the playoffs. And there's a lot of teams that get to the playoffs all the time. They might not win all the time like the Yankees, who get to the playoffs every year but never win. The new Yankees, the ones in the last 20 years that don't win. But they get there year after year after year. Well, other teams, they don't get there. We can count, we can start clicking off the ones that never get there. And that's why you have, without question, the forecast of Armageddon, of baseball being shut down dramatically and being shut down for a long period of time. And maybe that happens again. And maybe they even take out the World Series. Who knows what happens? It will be a long time coming back. A long time coming back. And it's not something in this climate, in the ever-changing world that we live in now, it's not something I would suggest. I think it will be much harder to come back than it was last time, where they got very fortunate. They looked the other way on the performance-enhancing drugs and allowed these guys to basically bring everybody back with a home run chase. A story they could market to the entire sporting world. And it worked. And they looked the other way, the hypocrites that they are. And they did that until Congress whacked them, and then they acted like holier than thou, which we know. We've been through all that, though. We'll see you later.